simply a harmful matter composed of blood, stool, urine, and similar other disgusting ingredients. This is the actual fact, but in a state of illusion, man becomes attracted by the illusion of beauty and becomes a victim of Manohara. King Ranjana begged his queen to return to her original beauty. He tried to revive her, just as a living entity tries to revive his original consciousness, Krishna consciousness, which is very beautiful. All the beautiful features of the queen could be compared to the beautiful features of Krishna consciousness. When one returns to his original Krishna consciousness, he actually becomes steady, and his life becomes successful. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shiva Sari Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram. This will be the verse here. Satam Mukam Sudati Satu Anurag Bhava Garvivandam Vashat Prasad Nilankalabhi Askritam Undasam My dear one, the teeth are very beautifully set, and your attractive features make you feel very fine. Kindly give up your anger. Be merciful upon me, and please smile upon me with loving compassion. When I see on your beautiful face, when I see a smile on your beautiful face, when I see your hair, which is as beautiful as the color blue, and I see your raised nose and hear your sweet, you will become more beautiful. Is thus attractive and amplified. You are by the expected mission. You will only wish to be there, Krishna. You will only wish to be there, Krishna. Namaste, Saraswati, Namaste, Saraswati, Krishna. So, we're reading this story of King Ranjana. It's an allegorical story spoken by Narada Muni from Chili Upanishad. Actually speaking directly to King Chili Upanishad, but because it's directly about him. In that sense, it's directly about us. Ranjana means the soul who enjoys in the body. On the allegorical examples we give the body of 9 gates. And sometimes that's one preaching style or method that sometimes people are not ready to be told directly how much they are in illusion. So therefore, an example is given. And then later on, King Pujari begins to realize that actually Narada Muni is speaking to no one else but me. This is very much my situation. As a king, I'm trying to enjoy in this body, I'm trying to enjoy in this world. So this is the story of the soul, which transmigrates through Prabhupada gives the number of 8,400,000 different species of life in different bodies. And this is also one of the first teachings that Krishna gives to Arjuna. You know, in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is bewildered. And actually, what is bewildered by, arranged by Krishna, is that it is bewildered by identification with his body. And that's tied his emotions of hesitancy to fight because of the bodily concept of life. So it's quite dramatic where Arjuna more or less breaks down. And though he is a very powerful warrior, here he is crying with tears coming from his eyes on the chariot, all because of the illusory bodily concept of life. So very powerful. So 8,400,000 different species of life. The soul is transmigrated. And there's it mentions that there's 9 gates in this body. There's 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the mouth, the anus, and the genitals. So I was thinking about that. Every material body has the same amount of holes. The fish, the dog, perhaps the ant, yeah, perhaps the germs even. Trees? No, they're different. Different type of body. Different. But at least many of the alien from the last species they have these 9 gates. And we, the eternal soul, misidentifying with the body. Therefore, trying to endure, that's why it's done. Very detailed example. Given, trying to enjoy these different things of the body. Yeah. Trying to enjoy the eyes, yeah, especially this material, the genitals, the affection, the balance, the sorts of that way, Jiva, from one body to another, immediately upon achieving one body, he identifies with that specific body. So originally, as we understand, the soul is full of unlimited bliss in relationship with Krishna. That's mentioned at the end of the prayer. That's the most beautiful situation of the jiva, is when he's related to Krishna with a sense of devotion. Then he really becomes beautiful. He can experience real happiness. The amount of happiness to be experienced in relationship to Krishna is unknown to the materialists. It's unknown. It's described in one place, it's described as Brahma Sokam Purantam. So he mentions that this beautiful life is meant to discover the Paranjana or the Pura within the body. That's what it's meant for. And if we can discover the soul, then we can discover the soul's relationship with Krishna. That's the ultimate purpose of the soul in the material body. Discover that relationship with Krishna. Then we can experience unlimited ocean of bliss and happiness. In comparison to the happiness found just in this body. It's very insignificant. And that's one of the reasons often persons with a little bit of intelligence, who are a little bit thoughtful, they have they come to a specific conclusion. They're a little bit thoughtful. They have this they realize that my sojourn in this world, no matter what I try to do, it's not giving me complete satisfaction. It's not giving me complete happiness. And that's good. If one comes to that, if one has that existential crisis in life, but what seems to be mapped out for me as far as material life, I have not experienced any real happiness. And I don't have faith that I can find any real happiness. That means someone's they're a little bit awake, Brahma Jignasa. They're a little bit introspective. There's this potency of Maya, it's called Avaram Atmika, which means it covers the jiva. It's the power of the Lord's external energy, very strong. Devi Eshikunamani. It's very strong, it's very difficult to overcome. Devi Eshikunamani, Mama Maya, Durathyaya. Very difficult to actually overcome. So I think Prabhupada gives an example. I think I got an example where Indra, the king of heaven, was cursed. Indra was cursed. Indra was cursed by Brahma. Was it Brahma cursed? Yeah, Brahma cursed Indra there was some mishap in the heavenly planets. and Indra.
No,
Brihaspati. Yeah. So Brihaspati cursed Indra. This is when he took birth as a hog. Yeah. Yeah, who goes to someone goes somewhere.
Two different stories.
Yeah,
Brahma cursed.
Yeah, Brahma cursed Indra. Yeah. No, it wasn't the same. Anyway, the point is that he took birth as a hog. He had 9 gates, So, and Amuranatmaka, his actual original position became covered. The actual original identity became covered. He was very much associated with being in the body of a hog. So, because he very much associated with a particular body, with a particular body, a particular genital other, then he became attracted to the other hogs. We won't go into graphic detail, hogs don't make so much distinction. And he was wallowing in the mud, etc. So it was a very deplorable situation compared to his original position in the heavenly planets. So then his services were needed again in the heavenly planets. So then Lord Brahma came down. Arise, Indra, you are the king of heaven. Arise. He couldn't relate to it because he was completely covered. Amuranatmaka was completely covered, so he was quite happy where he was. So I think as a story unfolds then. So that example is kind of a lesser example compared to our actual position. Actually, is as part and parcel of Krishna. As Tatastha Shakti, we actually have a constitutional relationship with Krishna. We actually belong in the spiritual realm. So, and we have these material ones. So, in one sense, Indra, went back there, couldn't conceive of his position in the heavenly planets. So, we can revive an eternal relationship with Krishna in the spiritual realm. We get all these different types of bodies we get. 8,400,000 species of life. Sometimes people become fascinated by what was I in my past life. Sometimes children have these past life memories. Sometimes persons with past life regression, like kind of mystical fascination about our bondage. What type of prison sleep, or what was the nature of your bondage in the last life? There's one devotee in the UK, he does that. He uses it as bridge preaching. He does these regressions. He's quite good at it, actually. Yes, I do believe it. Sometimes he has a whole group of people, like 60 people, he takes them, that's a meditation, he takes them back. Some people are fascinated by this. Go back. You think of your last memory as a child, okay, take a deep breath, go back. So some of fascination with their bondage, luxury. But we should be more concerned with the future. We should more be concerned with not getting a material body again. Understanding that we have so many bodies in this life, the actual purpose is to try and develop a spiritual body. Try to develop a spiritual identity so that at the time of death, we can be absorbed in that spiritual identity as a servant of Krishna. And then go to the spiritual realm. Otherwise, come back here. Again. Try and imagine how many different bodies we had. We had a photo of them. You're looking at everybody. Sometimes a dog, sometimes a cow, sometimes male, sometimes female, There's my body in the heavenly planets. There's my body in the hellish planets. There's my body in the heavenly realms. This is really people like to show photos, isn't it? I guess it's all in the phone now. We used to have photo albums. You know those things? Photo albums. We try to photo albums now. It's not on the phone. Pointing. But this is the this is the plight of the soul. And, we identify it, and we cannot see beyond. We identify very much with material situation. That is, we very much identify ourselves as being a product of this material world. So, because of that misidentification, we take on material anxiety because of this misidentification. We actually take it on because of illusion. Just like Arjuna, because of illusion, he actually took on the anxieties of the bodily conceptual life. Okay, the material mysteries are there, anibiotic, anidiotic, and aniatric. But we don't have to take on those mysteries if we're in knowledge. But if we don't have any knowledge of our real position as a spirit soul, then we take on, then we misidentify. And we take on all the different anxieties which are in connection to this body. And then also we go through all different emotions in connection to this body. Just like, for example, if there's anyone in Palestine, they got a Palestinian body, they will go through the emotions of hating anyone in Israel. And anyone in everyone, there might be some exceptions, but everyone in Israel, because of the body identification, they will hate everyone in Palestine. They take it on. They take on what's going on, anti-Baltic, anti-David, anti-Ethnic, because of their illusion. So therefore, when people in Israel hear one of their clan or one of their being killed, they feel it. They feel, you give something to them. Everyone in Ukraine, you guess who they hate? Who do they hate? Everyone in Russia, they hate everyone in Ukraine. Someone told me that this difference between the Russians and Ukrainians goes back hundreds of years. Is that true? Anyway, it's very prominent now. Yeah. So you invest your emotions in the illusion. You know? Like King Paranjali here is very much in illusion, very much identified with the body. Those are great detail. It's like, for instance, if someone, Oma Ichadi, it means you worship the land of your birth. You very much identify with it. India is great, go to India. India is great. So, it's like if someone supports a particular soccer team. At one time in London, it was the World Cup. And it didn't happen in London, it was somewhere else, but it was Brazil versus Germany. Yeah, World Cup. And there's a Brazilian bar quite close to the temple. We just went for it, was bars everywhere, like a club. And this was as the match was kicking off, or the match was. Yeah. But actually, it was and there was really celebrating, you know. It was really because Brazil won, so there was complete mad intoxication. And you saw the German people, the other was completely miserable. It's a real emotion. They're really experiencing it. You cannot tell them what they're experiencing is illusion. No, it's real. They really feel it. Especially when you got in India playing Pakistan in cricket. It's like they get so emotional. It's tied in with their misidentification. So much emotions. It's like also where temple is, we have different ashrams. I stay in one ashram on site. And the next door neighbors, they go wild over football. They get intoxicated, they take drugs and drink, and they watch football. And it sounds like someone's being killed or murdered. They're screaming at the top of his voice. I mean, screaming so that every flat, top, bottom, backwards, sideways could hear this man screaming. But first, when I was first there, I actually thought someone was being killed. Then I realized he's not even watching the So, in one sense, that's a more graphic example. I guess where it gets subtle. Even from it gets quite subtle where we identify with our gross and subtle body. So therefore, we take on the illusion of these material world. So imagine being free of that. Imagine free of the body concept of life. And there is examples of that where it's taken to the extremes one word. We could use it in Jada Yoga, where there's examples of great saints who completely do not identify one little bit of their material body. And it can be quite confusing for people to actually see. But one of them is Sukadeva Goswami, naked, walking around naked, and no identification whatsoever with his body. One of them is Lord Shakti, no identification whatsoever with the body. To an extreme example. But it goes, the extreme example where Lord Shakti, he would pass, again, it's just before breakfast, he would pass stall and he would rub it all over his body. It's there in both of them. He would pass stall over his body, put stones in his mouth. Madman, but he wasn't. He was a Paramahamsa, the highest stage of realization. That one is Vamsidas Prabhuji, stories of Vamsidas Prabhuji. Completely removed the difficult is Jada Yoga. Removed from the body concept of man. So this is why Prabhupada at the end of the purple, well, he gives this story, this very this story. You've not heard this story before. Very nice story. Well, this man he's attracted. What is he attracted to? He's attracted to stool, blood, mucus, etc. Yeah? Because of illusion, he thinks it's attractive. Yeah? It's just the wonderful power of the external energy of the Lord. Yeah? Where you can see a member of the opposite sex. I can find shelter there. I can enjoy there. There might be some enjoyment. What's the highest enjoyment in this about the sex life? It's very compared to that was experienced by the soul in connection to Krishna. It's very, very insignificant. Very, very. It's like it's not actually really enjoyment. It's misidentification. Misidentifying the body. So here, this story. This lady is very intelligent. You take this purgative, that means it's coming out both ends. Increase of body coming out the bottom, top end, put it in the bucket. You're attracted to, you actually attracted to me, no. It's all illusion, it's what you're attracted to. It's attracted. So the point here, Prabhu brings out here. King Rajula begged his queen to return to her original beauty. So there's different allegorical examples given throughout this whole pastimes. So here's another one Prabhupada said. So Prabhupada brings this up. He tried to revive her just as a living entity tries to revive his original consciousness, Krishna consciousness, which is that's actually very beautiful. Is one's Krishna consciousness. That's actually real beauty. Just like Prabhupada is very beautiful. Prabhupada is very beautiful. It's difficult for materialists to really understand. Because he's fully Krishna conscious. He's very attractive. He's a very attractive person, this pure soul. Very, very beautiful. The people are so, they're so in illusion. They think beauty, everything's invested in the body. That's the whole, their whole existence is their body. If the body doesn't look good, they don't feel good. And they're obsessed with their body. Like when I was waiting at the airport, Gatwick Airport, I got there early, and I was sat and I was watching all the people coming and going. There was one young girl, coloured lady, she sat down in the chair and I was watching down the people sitting up the second floor. And she was combing her hair like every 3 minutes. And she was doing selfies. 3 minutes later. Taking these selfies. Every 5 minutes she was taking a selfie. Doing her hair in different ways. Completely. You see, our whole existence is, and that's materialistic life. That's what's this about. So, Prabhu, this body, the body is, and this body is going to get attacked in the next chapter. Attacked by Chandavega in the city of Prabhu. The body is going to be attacked by the soldiers of days and nights. It's going to plunder everything. It's like when the city is plundered by the enemy forces. Everything is taken up. All the riches, all the wealth is plundered. So the same way, this allegorical example go, the people under it will be attacked by days and nights. He's trying to enjoy this body, trying to enjoy. That's what's for the materialistic person. They're trying to enjoy. You may enjoy a little bit when they've got some youth. Yeah, some youth. A little bit they enjoy the body, attraction, out, this, that thing. From 40s, 50s, 60s. And they fail to really enjoy how they dreamed of enjoying. And the materialist has all these dreams of what they're going to achieve. But then as the years come on, 50, 60, 70, I mean, you ain't gonna get what he's planning to get. And even if you get it, it's not gonna make you happy. Again, so then what happened? What happened to Ranjana? He became Ranjini. He became Ranjini because he's so obsessed. Yeah. He was so absorbed in thoughts of what he was attached to. Yeah. Gross, subtle body was so entangled in the objects of his attachment. So that's the birth he took in the next life was Ranjini. Yeah. So young Bhaktiswaram Bhavam, whatever you're absorbed in that time of death, that's going to be where you go in the next life, or what form you take. So same as spiritually as well, whatever we absorb in the time of death. So that time of death, what we absorb in the time of death depends what we've done before that. Depends what we've done before. So right now, our consciousness depends on what we've done the last few days, what we've done this morning. So we're trying to chat just to be this with the Krishna conscious. So, if we're told, so King Raja, everything gets ransacked. He gets ransacked. So that's also that's actually knowledge. It's mentioned Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13. Yeah. What is actual knowledge? The perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease. That's actually in someone's mind. Someone's actually can perceive it. Yeah, this is the perception, Prabhu says, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age. From the perspective of eternity, from the soul in the spiritual realm, what we're experiencing here is evil. They can, in these material bodies, trying to enjoy through this material body, in comparison to the soul's original state in the higher realm, in the neutral realm. That's what Bhagavatam is waking us up to this as well. It's waking us up to this illusion. Those are us, really showing illusion. So we have to hear, every day, every year. At the same time, we build a spiritual identity. The emotions which we're feeling for Krishna, we want to develop those emotions more and more and more. And less and less and less identify with this body and everything that goes with it. Any questions or comments? Yes, please.
Problem is memory.
Problem is memory, yes.
Local sound.
Yeah.
You open the album,
Yeah.
memories. Sometimes looking to the mirror, it's nice to remember that life was temporary. To see the body becoming old, suffering. But it's, the illusion is over there. And it's there always, the illusion, because of memory. So, maybe this spiritual body is all our spiritual realization.
Yeah.
I think every realization, spiritual realization, and compose our spiritual body.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to don't remember.
Yeah, it's difficult. Like it's a good point with Buddha. Material life comes with a lesson, quite unique. Old age. It happens to everyone. You're forced to come to terms with reality. You can't be delusional. You're actually forced to. As far as memories of activities in this world, memories of emotions, relationships, etc., from this body, even in this one life. Yes. But the idea is that the experiences in relationship to loving devotion to Krishna should become so deep and so profound that the experiences we've had in relationship to his body become completely insignificant and of no importance because of the wonder that you're experiencing in relationship to Krishna, developing your spiritual identity. You can stand back from it. And practically, as you make progress, it's completely insignificant compared to what one is experiencing. We might have fully been absorbed in the relationship with the wife or children. And 30, 40 years, 50 years later, it doesn't mean anything because of the wonder of Krishna consciousness. The Prabhupada wrote that in his Vrindavan Bhajan. There's a poem he writes when he was in Vrindavan before he came over to the West. One part of it is, I'm simply thinking of all my children, my relatives, etc. So he's all on his own. He says, where are they all now? What significance are they? It makes me laugh. What was it all about? So he writes that. as if we go deeper in Krishna consciousness, then these impressions and memories on the material platform in relationship with body incident, just like the relationships that we had in our last life. This doesn't mean anything to us in this life. Subtly it may do, but then it doesn't mean anything. The more we become Krishna conscious, and the less we can be affected, because we're so enthralled by the revelations that come from Krishna. And Krishna consciousness is so deep that we can easily do it. So time of death, you won't be struggling, you shouldn't be struggling. Oh, my kids, my grandkids. Really absorbed completely in Krishna. There was one, let's finish with one example. There was one lady in the UK many years ago. She was the secretary of the temple president in Scotland, called Manohara. To cut the story short, she had a brain tumor, she had terminal disease. But she was, as she was going through the end of her life, she was revealing a relationship with Krishna in Pacific service. She was giving details that she used to pack Krishna's lunch. She used to consider the wood. And she was like, oh, so you pack Krishna's lunch? No, I don't pack it. I actually help you pack Krishna's lunch. She's an assistant to the mothers. Pretty young. And she was asked about Krishna. She said she really liked to see Krishna when he's coming home from herding the cows. He's got dust in his hair. And she's relaying this. The husband's like asking these questions. And then and she goes into, she's in and out of consciousness because of her disease. So then her relatives come to see her, her family come to see her. She's with them, with her, she's out. They stay there 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. They stay there for an hour. Like this. Then they go. And once they go, she opens her eyes and says, have they gone? Says, have they gone? But she was waiting for a family. Because they won't understand that. But she didn't want any, compared to what she was realizing in Krishna. The last thing she wanted was these persons coming to remind her of her bodily relationship. So she was just fainting, the whole time. Have they gone? Yeah, they've gone.
I remember a story about this Yamaraja statement, which is the biggest illusion.
Yeah, everyone's going to death.
Yeah. Everybody are all dying, but I'm thinking I never will die. I will live forever.
Yeah. We don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
We don't realize the futility of life. Even though we see some people Auntie Betty dies, everyone dies. We go on this and live forever. Anything else? Yes. Yeah, that story I told that there's a book, it's difficult to find these days, called Simple for the Simple.
And Prabhu gave her a name. It was almost the same name that he was doing.
Oh, really?
It was called Shri Ratna or.
Yeah, Ratnavangini was her name.
Yeah, and her name was some almost similar.
The young assistant. Simple for the Simple. I sound very small. Let's forget to well, we're here at the moment, so we have to interact. Yes,